Most men enter relationships with the unspoken belief that they can fix a woman, that they can shape her into someone better, someone more mature, more loyal, more loving. They see her emotional swings, her contradictions, the way she lashes out in moments of stress, and they convince themselves that if they just love harder, give more, and sacrifice endlessly, she will evolve into the woman they imagined. But this is an illusion. Women do not change because someone wishes it, because someone sacrifices for them, or because someone is patient enough to endure every storm. Change happens on their timeline, through their own reflection, through the consequences life forces upon them. Until that moment arrives, any attempt to mold her is a losing battle. It's exhausting. It drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and traps you in cycles of disappointment. Men fall into the trap of chasing potential rather than seeing reality. They see flashes of loyalty, glimpses of peace, brief moments of affection, and they convince themselves this is what she could become. But flashes are not foundations. Potential is not a substitute for truth. Loving a version of her that doesn't exist today is a form of self-deception. Every compromise made in hope of her eventual growth chips away at your boundaries and your sense of self. The man who tries to fix her risks losing his own identity, bending to her chaos, and tolerating behaviors he would never accept in someone aligned with his standards. Understanding this is the first step toward real freedom. Accept her as she is today. Stop investing in the illusion of what she could be. Stop chasing the idea of her evolution. Stand firm in reality, in your own truth, and let the woman you are with decide whether she can meet your standards, not the other way around. This clarity preserves your energy, protects your peace, and establishes the foundation of a man who leads rather than chases. Women don't respect men who tolerate chaos, inconsistency, or disrespect in the hope that someday, somehow, they'll change. Many men confuse patience with leadership, believing that enduring tantrums, excuses, and emotional volatility makes them strong or noble. In reality, patience without boundaries is weakness. If she disrespects you today, waiting for apologies to transform her character accomplishes nothing. If she betrays your trust now, hoping she will magically learn loyalty later only sets you up for disappointment. People reveal who they are through their actions, not promises. Believing otherwise is a recipe for frustration and resentment. The man who truly commands respect is not the one bending to her whims or tolerating behavior that violates his standards. He is the one who stands firm, enforces his boundaries, and makes it clear that his world is non-negotiable. By doing so, he communicates value and strength, and this is far more compelling than any lecture or attempt to mold her into a better version of herself. Trying to change her is often misinterpreted as weakness, neediness, or an inability to accept reality. Women respond to leaders, not caretakers, saviors, or teachers. When a man enforces his standards without compromise, he sets a line that she can choose to step up to or step away from. This is not about cruelty, it's about self-respect and clarity. It's about creating a reality in which you are the measure of your own life, and she either aligns with it or leaves. By prioritizing your standards over the hope of her potential, you preserve your energy, protect your peace, and embody the leadership that naturally attracts the right kind of woman, one who respects you, invests in the relationship, and rises to meet your reality without being forced or cajoled. This is how men stop chasing and start leading. Every attempt to change a woman backfires because it's misread as weakness rather than care. When a man lectures, advises, or tries to guide her toward maturity, she doesn't see leadership, she sees someone unable to accept reality. She interprets his efforts as neediness, as a man bending to her chaos instead of standing firm in his own truth. This perception breeds resentment. The more you attempt to shape her, the more she resists. She tests harder, pushes boundaries, and creates more disorder, because she wants to see if you'll keep forgiving, keep accommodating, keep trying to fix her. And the more you do, the less she respects you. Women don't respect saviors. They respect leaders. A leader doesn't try to change her. He changes himself, strengthens his own world, and lets her decide if she can keep up. The danger of trying to change her is not only in losing respect, it's in losing yourself. At first, it feels like small concessions, overlooking a lie here, tolerating disrespect there, excusing chaotic behavior because you hope for a better tomorrow. But over time, these compromises accumulate into massive self-betrayal. You stop enforcing boundaries because you fear pushing her away. You stop speaking your truth because you don't want conflict. You stop leading with strength because you are busy managing her moods. Step by step, you lose the very essence that made you attractive, your masculine center, your frame, your power. Attempting to change her slowly transforms you from a man of authority into a caretaker, a fixer, a passive participant in her life. And no woman respects a man who abandons himself for her. The more you sacrifice your energy and identity trying to fix her, the weaker you become, and the less she sees you as someone worthy of loyalty, admiration, or love. Trying to change her is a trap, a path that only leads to exhaustion, resentment, and loss of self. Men fall into one of the oldest traps in relationships, loving a version of a woman that doesn't exist yet. They see flashes of loyalty, brief moments of peace, or small gestures of affection, and they convince themselves that this is who she could become if only they try harder. But fragments don't create foundations. Potential isn't reality. The woman in front of you today is the only measure of what your relationship can be. Believing she will grow because you shield her from consequences, because you accommodate her chaos, or because you sacrifice for her is a dangerous illusion. Change doesn't happen because of your effort, it happens because she faces the consequences of her own choices. Life humbles her. Pain teaches her. Loss forces her to reflect. Until that moment, your attempts to accelerate her growth do nothing but drain you. Worse, they allow her to continue living in a way that wouldn't be sustainable if you weren't constantly absorbing the fallout. Trying to shape her into someone she's not stunts her growth and undermines your own. It signals that your standards are negotiable and that her chaos is acceptable as long as she promises to improve. But real growth comes from accountability, not from being saved. When she finally does evolve, it will likely be for a man who never tolerated the nonsense, the man who maintained his boundaries and refused to compromise his standards. By focusing on what she could be, you delay her growth and simultaneously sabotage your own peace and energy. Accepting reality, refusing to chase potential, and enforcing your standards ensures that you build your life with women who are already aligned with your values. It preserves your energy, protects your masculine center, and sets the stage for relationships grounded in truth rather than fantasy. The lesson is clear: stop investing in potential and start living in reality. The power of silence and boundaries is often underestimated, yet it is one of the most effective tools a man has in relationships. When a woman disrespects you, tests your patience, or betrays your trust, responding with words or arguments often only escalates the chaos. Lectures, explanations, and debates may feel like leadership, but they rarely produce real change. Silence, withdrawal, and firm boundaries, on the other hand, communicate clarity and strength without a single word. By refusing to tolerate behavior that violates your standards, you force her to confront her own actions. Women may argue with your words, but they cannot argue with absence. They may dismiss your explanations, but they cannot dismiss the void that appears when you step away from their storms. This absence creates space for reflection. It forces accountability. It allows her to see the consequences of her behavior not through punishment, but through reality, the reality that she cannot drag you into her chaos. Leadership is not about dragging her toward potential. It's about building your own life and inviting her to align with it. If she rises to meet your standards, she stays. If she cannot, she leaves. And that is a gain, not a loss. By holding your ground, you preserve your energy, protect your peace, and maintain your masculine center. You stop bending to chaos and start leading in reality. This clarity inspires change more effectively than any attempt to mold her because it comes from truth, not manipulation. The moment you enforce your standards and allow her to make the choice, you reclaim control of your world. Your calmness becomes a shield, and your silence becomes a tool that draws the right woman to you while repelling the wrong ones. It is not cruelty, it is leadership. The final step in mastering relationships is learning to build yourself and filter, rather than fix. The strongest men understand that their role is not to remodel a woman into the version they desire, but to create a life on their own terms and allow others to decide if they can rise to it. Trying to change her is an endless drain on energy, focus, and peace. It is a battle against resistance, excuses, and contradictions that rarely ends in satisfaction. By contrast, building, focusing on your mission, your vision, your body, your finances, and your personal growth energizes and empowers you. It establishes a foundation so solid that no chaos or drama can shake it. Women are naturally drawn to men who live in this reality. They do not need to be persuaded or lectured, they are inspired by example. The woman who aligns with your standards will elevate herself without prompting, simply because she recognizes the clarity, discipline, and strength in the man she is with. Filtering rather than fixing allows you to maintain your masculine center, enforce your boundaries, and operate from a place of power instead of need. You no longer waste time on illusions of potential, no longer compromise your standards for temporary peace, and no longer sacrifice your mission for someone else's growth. Accepting reality as it is and choosing partners who fit within it preserves your energy, protects your peace, and ensures that your relationships are based on respect, alignment, and shared values. The man who never tries to change a woman gains freedom, clarity, and authority over his own life. He does not lose himself in chaos, he does not bend for potential, and he does not wait for a fantasy that may never come. He builds, he leads, and in doing so, he attracts the right woman naturally, without force, manipulation, or compromise. This is the ultimate expression of masculine power, living in truth, building your world, and allowing others to choose whether they can stand beside you.